Hello, this is the Harvard Light. I'm, I'm Mary. I give a conservative perspective about the world around me. Feedback is immensely important. Feel free to reach out to me. Two ways you can do this is through email and YouTube, of course. All right, so I appreciate all of you listeners out there. Feel free to reach out to me. Also, word of mouth is immensely important, and I appreciate spreading. I could see so many different people, more and more people listening. Thank you so much. Continue that on. Yeah, you think somebody that would be very interested in a certain topic and you find that with me, share that. You like this content, and I see so many people that listen to me. Hey, share it out. Spread it out. Let it know. The Harboring Light. All right, so on to the now that I got through with all the business here of that, on to the topic of choice. All right, so here's what I'm going to talk about here. It's Friday, so I'm getting current here. All right, so the topic of choice here is two things. First, I'm going to start out and talk about my thoughts about with Tyler Robinson and the Charlie Kirk with what's going to come out when with what's all coming out with that, and now my thoughts with the whatever the conviction will be, and I just want to give more thoughts onto this, okay? And then I'm going to end and talk about the aspects of AI in this article I found about in the works of having an actress that was completely made out of AI, and how Hollywood in itself is saying, hey, let's not do that. All these things bring up a lot of questions here. All right, so with this said, let's jump right into it. All right, so what I understand that this is a preliminary hearing that's going on. All right, so, and then, the trial, and then, how that, with the judiciary process. Now, here are my thoughts. All right, so, all right, so I have great, immense hope, that things will be ratified the way they should. This is why. Now, it's finally coming to fruition that there are consequences for actions. Actually, this will change the precedent. I believe it will be, a monumental aspects of moving forward with the importance of seeing things for what they are and then just understanding that. Now, this aspects of being in a culture or having it very, I would say, seen as normalized as a cultural value to go upon conspiracy theories. You know, it's very damaging. Why is that? It's damaging because just imagine, okay, so this whole thing where that comes from somewhere. The image of a man with a tinfoil hat saying all these weird things out of their mouths. Oh, but he's coming to get, and then most of this was linked to JFK assassination and so forth, right? There was even to the point of, now, I spoke on Touched by an Angel, and it got very controversial towards the end, unfortunately. But when it was good, there was, she played Richie's mom or something like that on Happy Days. I can't remember quite. No, I don't quite know her name. All right. So anyway, my point is, she was consumed with the understanding that it must be true that there's something behind the aspects of JFK and the assassination. She just could never come to let that go. And this was an element to understand the fact, another piece of the puzzle to understand the fact of why she was running away, why she was homeless, mentally unstable, because she could never let go. She couldn't see things for what they were. She's always keeping herself in the past and always preoccupying her mind with things that are not evidently true. They're just not factually true. And so when you have people who are running society, who are saying, influencing into society and saying, oh, well, it's fine and it's being rewarded to just saying, oh, well, nothing is real, all right? What do you have? You don't have anything. You don't have such structural foundation for a culture to thrive. And then it also begs the question, if these things are implemented, are these people do they really want cultural value? And also, it's really unfortunate. I've seen people like Tucker Carlson, countless other people that should know better, but they don't. Because why? They primarily do not care about the truth of the situation. All that matters is the image. All right? And so, it's going to be very healing if Tyler Robinson and everything that will unfold with that gets ratified. Because it will say that you cannot go around and be justified in your actions just because you think XYZ. in which the judicial system will shock people back into reality to understand that's the way the law should work, and that's the way the law has been working for so long before it has been uplifted for people who are mentally unstable to say otherwise. All right. Now, here is the difference between conspiracy theories and there's immense difference between conspiracy theories and seeking out the truth. When you seek out conspiracy theories, you're seeking out false narratives to where it really is very detrimental to your mental stability, to where it's essentially the same thing to the aspects if you are spiritual or you're particularly Christian, like myself. I'm more in line with the Christian faith, okay? Now, I know that and I understand that. And I know that's my house here. I know Jesus is my house, is my Savior. I know that's my wheelhouse, because the way that I feel that spiritually and everything else aligns with that. Okay? Now, and that's one of the fundamental goals with Charlie Kirk. And then also, if you are not a spiritual person, just a rational person, besides your spirituality, I'm a multi-pronged person here. Rationality is very important. Now, if you are not a spiritual person, but you are a rational person wants to always seek out the truth. And that's what science is, too. That's what science is supposed to be uplifted to. And so, I'm going to go to science, and I'm going to go back to Mr. Charlie Kirk. All right, in this trial here. Now, really good example of bad faith characters and conspiracy theories and disrupting the frontal mental wonder and mystery of science is Neil deGrasse Tyson, and then before him, Bill Nye. Now, these two people were very detrimental into the aspects of the possibility of science and the reason of science. They skewed it in a way to where it was okay to deny the truth and that conspiracy is fine, right? And they were trying to cleverly package it in a way to where, there's a third element to truth, which is bizarre. All right, look. They should know better if they are really scientists themselves. What is science? Science is always seeking the truth, even when it shadows your worldview and it's not in your favor, and it challenges you in a way in which you never thought possible, or disproves what you thought to be shadows your worldviews. If you call yourself a scientist, you embrace these things, and some scientists, it brings them closer to faith because of them, and that is the beauty of science, right? And Bill Nye, unfortunately, he started this thing, and then Neil deGrasse Tyson just took it in all different directions by saying that, okay, maybe there is a possibility that with a man could be a woman, and it's like, what? No. Why are you doing this? You're doing this because you want what? Image. You want the mentally unstable to look at you and listen to you. You don't actually care about anything but image. Bill Nye was the same way when he did this whole thing about revitalizing his career and saying this agendas about trying to be hip with science or whatever. When he brought his show was brought back, these trendy things with science when he's actually spewing out nonsense. And that was part of the problem too with when he originally had his Saturday morning show on CBS or so. You know, most of the stuff that he behind the scenes, it was found out it wasn't very credible, a credible source. But I'm trying to think about his name. And it was a guy who came on before that was, those who know, you know what I'm talking about, those who grew up in that realm, but I will describe him. I can't think about his name. He was, let me see if I can look him up right quick. So I'm curious about this, so. Bear with me. All right, bear with me. Let's see. I'm trying to think about that guy's name. Jeez. Let me go this other route, and then I'll just, if I can't find, I'll just I'll describe him. Okay, bear with me there. All right. All right. Let's see. I don't know why he is not coming up. I don't know why he's not coming up. But anyway, let me see one thing. Now, there's a YouTuber. Let me pull that up real quick. Jeez. All right. So I'm gonna just describe him to make a long story short. Okay. Now he was actually meaning what he was actually he's actually a scientist. He had wild hair. He had the whole stick of looking like a mad scientist, and he actually understood and he actually respected science, and he just gave a lot of clear, concise facts for children to understand and then, revel in the joy of what science can bring to our culture and the value of it. And the show, unfortunately, didn't last very long because he was a competitor to Bill Nye. Nye did not like that, and it was a whole thing with that. But anyhow, it's quite interesting how things like that played themselves out. Now, I'll say this again, and I'll keep reiterating this and keep showcasing this, right? Charlie, I think people need to come to grips with that, those who just refuse to not do this, all right? It's kind of straightforward, but you don't really know. People are different, and especially now with the rationality and the common sense not being common sense, it's just something. But, it's more people who are really not, just stepping up, and they're just like, hey, man, this is nonsense. I don't want to deal with this crap anymore. Let's move forward in the right direction. And that's promising. But anyhow, with the assassination of Charlie Kirk and Tyler Robinson, it's very daunting and a haunting reminder that somehow we have. Now I'm saying we in just the better terms. This unfortunately, the American culture, the Western culture. Let me say that's the best way to put that. But I would say, unfortunately, we as a nation, and the good and the bad is, I'm an American. We are Americans. I have international listeners, but besides that, I mean that with we as an American nation, all right? But I have no part of that nonsense. That's not. All right, so as an American nation, it has been an uphill battle with the aspects of where to go with rationality and where to go with reason and reasonable doubt. Can you imagine living in a world if they just decide to go off tracks and say, oh, well, we can't necessarily prove this, that. So, okay. Which I doubt that's what's going to happen with everything that has been shown, with all the things that are going on with the preliminary hearing. I'm just have a lot of good faith in that. All right, so and they say, but you never know, right? And it's just like, well, and they just a slap on the wrist. It will say that, it's free range now. It would be free range for anybody who thinks that what they're doing in bad faith is fine to just kill just because you think somebody is a threat to you because they disagree with something. It's a simple disagreement. When that's what America is founded on, and that's what a rational, thriving culture should be encouraged to have people who have different ideas. Despite that, still being having decorum and respect for one another, not being at each other's throats because of it. And I think also, too, why everything it strikes a chord with people is because Charlie Kirk, even though he had such a prolific change in our culture and such a huge organization, he was still very humble and just I get he is a bit more than that, but essentially in the grand scheme of things, like that the guy your neighbor, the guy next door, right? Can you imagine? I mean, you can honestly see. It's just you can see when he died. To me, I saw that. Like I was in, like when I heard it, me and my husband were outside helping make a shed, and it's just as if then when you hear, oh well, he's dead. Excuse me. It's if, and then you see all this hate that's coming out of his death, and all this hate towards his family and his wife and everything, and it's still out there. It's as if no different than your spouse or your neighbor, your friend, somebody that is very, and a coworker that is very nice and humble person, or somebody, and then they just all of a sudden they're killed just because they have the courage to just speak their mind and be honest about something. That's just as sickening. And the fact that these things were celebrated and seen as something normal is outrageous. It's unbelievable. And it just makes you very much, it's very troublesome and weary for the future of humanity. But I know that despite what will happen, what's important to take away from this is no matter what, it's very important to stand on always seeking the truth. Always have, and what's more important is always having a backbone. And that's what was so different with Charlie Kirk. He had a backbone. And what was also different about him, unfortunately, that goes on a lot, especially with people who call themselves Christian and Christian faith. They do not walk, most people, unfortunately, excuse me, I'll be right back. they don't actually want to be Christ-like, because you know what? That causes for them to get out of themselves and see the better way to be. Charlie Kirk was very Christ-like, right? Now, because he did what he could to walk the walk and say, hey, I'm a foot soldier for my faith, and I am also a beacon of light for that. On top of that, it's very important for people to understand where facts and irrationality are, when you merge those things together, how that becomes very divisive to where it's not functional at all for a society to thrive. And that struck a magnitude of a chord with people, because that was something that when somebody says that to you and shows you that, they actually show you with, they're very calm and very assuring with it, and they show you this and aid you to, again, look at yourself. A lot of people cannot take that for quite well. And I think, to wrap all this up, this is something to remind ourselves about and to understand ultimately, after everything is said and done with this. With the preliminary trial, and with everything that will come out of it, and all of this, and all the steps leading ahead. All right, so that's all I have to say about that. Okay, so I'm going to take a break, move on to the next subject here. All right, here we go. All right, so I have found out that, interesting enough, there are leading towards this where there is an AI actor or actress, completely created from AI. This AI is entitled, her name is titled Tilly Norwood, and supposed to be featured in a film called Misaligned, right? And so, quite assuringly enough, the Hollywood community, film community particularly, is, well, when we get with the Actors Union, are denouncing it. All right, here we go. And I'll have that source link for you. All right, so what are my thoughts about that? Now, look, here's the thing with this. I think this is a really good lesson to learn, that and will get the Hollywood community up, and it's a good thing to get them up in arms like this, because it's a reminder that you're not what you think. All right, it's a reminder of you and yourself, which is a reality situation, to get back to the basics of the roots of what film and television, the entertainment industry, is for the people. And to understand that people in itself, are getting tired with the same old stuff being churned out. But not on top of no creativity, having this weird agendas being pushed upon, where it's not only is the same thing being churned out, it's extra layer of strangeness because of the agendas being pushed upon it. And the level of disrespect is unbelievable. Case in point, when there was this whole thing this is been going on for a long time with writers going on strike, and then the Actors Guild and everything. Writers saying they're not being paid enough, they're not their due diligence and everything. Where, sometimes that's the case, sometimes it isn't the case, but most of the time it's just, egos being thrown around and just a whole lot of high school drama that's there, that's interlaced with that, all right? But at the same time, the writers and the actors, if you don't watch out, there's a writing on the wall. Can be easily replaced by something like everything else, right? When you think that maybe that's not the case. Now, there's still so many flaws with AI, and it's still primitive in its aspects of the point. But I find it quite funny is because if Hollywood was putting as they say, putting themselves, where the proof is in the pudding or something like that, along the lines of that comparison. If they were actually taking the time to craft and tell well thought out stories, these things would not be in the capability in the realm of a threat at all. AI just would not be. It would actually be a tool to help inspire more incredible feats that could be a possibility for entertainment. But no, guess what? Not. It's not that, because why? It's unfortunate that it is Hollywood is the worst offender of this, of being delusion driving the wheelhouse and decision making or reality situations of things. Case in point, there's so many, but let's go with two very notable aspects of that. All right, let's go with now this has been, but it's good examples because it's the weirdness of it. All right, so Supergirl, and then with the actress making it very known that saying, just verbatim, trying to be her best to be the next wave of Rachel Zegler's, where it's off-putting. Now, Supergirl is not about a love interest, not about anything like that. You actually don't know anything about the story plot because Supergirl is about the aspects of being a part of a new generation of fighting justice and being a upholder of that for the aspects of that in the realm of with Superman and her perspective about everything with upholding justice. All right, so and that is being hidden away by what? Agendas, saying that. Now, how did we get here where we can say that with a straight face that Supergirl is an LGBT icon? Supergirl was not about that. She was not about upholding a sexuality as an agenda. She was about, for one, you cannot. It comes with the territory. If you are somebody that, for one, is all about justice and looking feminine, you're not going to be in the realm of playing gender politics. It's just, that's not going to be in your wheelhouse. And it's unfortunate that that's, again, trying to push weird agendas like that. All right, so, I'm sorry. Hold on just a minute. Okay. All right, so. Okay, so the Odyssey, all right? Now, the Odyssey is, and I would encourage myself, go back and reread it. But anyway, the Odyssey is such a interwoven piece of literary culture and history, and the fact that it's not understood that it's very valuable to the story plot to have at least someone of Greek descent in it. It's a slap in the face. Just to have no respect for that. And Chris Nolan should be bafflingly ashamed. But no, he says, it's in when he's doubling down when he was in this. I think one of the either 60 Minutes, some kind of interview, whatever it was, doesn't matter. Who cares? Because he doesn't care about the content. So whatever, all right. And it says, it's his moral duty to do this correctly. If that was the case, you wouldn't toe the line and just, give in to this DI bullcrap and have all these boxes being checked and have all these actors placed into there where, as far as nationality is involved, well, let's say ethnicity is involved, that's two things within itself, but more presentably here, where race and that is involved, where it's misplaced, and then to not only that, and using actors that are just is laughable of why these actors were a choice, and then there are people enabling just bad decision making. And this is, if things like this did not happen, all right, AI wouldn't be seen as a threat. And then also being up in arms where the Actors Guild needs to put an announcement out there for it to be denounced. We cannot have AI in a feature-length film actress doing these things, having a part. Well, you know what? Hey, maybe that would be a good thing to do, because AI wouldn't do any worse or any better than what has been churned out anyway, by so-called talented people who pride themselves to be part of the professional entertainment aspects of the community. And I think that's what should be taken away with that, with these two things. And I would encourage, too, with the aspects, with Supergirl, the comics, and the original Supergirl, to take a look back at that, too. Because, these things are very rich in value and rich in cultural history because they are sound with the aspects of it speaks a lot of relative influence on the culture for what it is and what they're saying, what they're reflecting. So the same thing with the Odyssey. Because there's a lot to be said with treasuring and upholding and keeping that pure and sound, because that sets up for the next generation to have respect for that. And to, if you do that, okay, you will have a multitude of other generations besides your own to have value and seeking out knowledge for what it is, the truth, and to understanding and see things in a different way that you didn't think that's besides your own. With that said, this reaches me. That's all I got for getting current this week. You want to continue the conversation? Go ahead. I really encourage that. I appreciate all of you. And, even if you want to, because I have a lot of international listeners, if you want to send me something in your native language, I will respond to you, because, of course, the languages that, I understand Spanish to sort of an intermediate extent, but beyond that, if you feel free, I'll just do my best to respond to you with the translator and get back to you. Or you want to fill up comments on YouTube, go ahead. And then also, American listeners out there, feel free to reach out to me. Either, email or YouTube comments is greatly appreciated. All right, so with that said, this reaches the end of the Harping Light. Tune in, turn up, and definitely take care out there. Bye-bye for now.